road networks and facilitate delivery of humanitarian assistance to the affected populations will also be done. And Cabinet also sanctioned the distribution of over 150,000 mosquito nets to the affected counties. That is already happening. Cabinet also directed the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, in consultation with all agencies within the sector, to give priority to maximum production, uptake, and distribution of hydro-generated power. It further directed the Ministry of Energy to pass the benefit of lower electricity tariffs to the public in a manner that promotes the increased use of hydro-generated power, which has presently increased to 20%, while diesel has gone down from 15 to 10%. Cabinet also committed the coordination of all state efforts to the National Disaster Operations Center, which will coordinate all relief activities by activating the whole of government approach, thus ensuring efficient deployment of resources and enhanced communication among relevant government agencies and humanitarian organizations. An ad hoc cabinet committee was also established on disaster response under the leadership of His Excellency the Deputy President to coordinate the state response. Through the National Disaster Operations Center, the government will continue to provide regular updates on the progress of our relief efforts, and the center shall work closely with the media in disseminating accurate and timely information to the public. The emergency session of Cabinet today, or the special session of Cabinet, concluded by reassuring all Kenyans that the government is doing everything within its power to return the situation to normalcy within the earliest time possible. Cabinet also urged all Kenyans to prioritize safety during their travel in this period, as well as at their homes and workplaces. All Kenyans should exercise patience and caution while traveling, wait for storm waters to subside before attempting to cross roads, report any instances of flooding or landslides to the authorities, and strictly follow all guidelines issued by government. Thank you very much. I'll take a few questions. I will kindly request you to restrict them as much as possible to the cabinet resolutions. Yes.
My name is Giverson Minor from Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. My question is, the 10 billion Kenyan shillings you're saying has been distributed, or rather, reimbursed to the counties.
Shareable revenue, yes.
Shareable revenue. Is it their normal shareable revenue, or does it consist, the fund you're talking about, to, that will cater for the emergency as a result of the El Nino?
Okay. The 10 billion shillings, 10 billion, so it's 20 billion in total. 10 billion was released last week. Another 10 billion Treasury has been directed to release today, by the end of this week, hopefully by Thursday. But again, the government can only encourage. And as I said, government is working with county governments in this response, because we are serving the same people at the end of the day. The situation is in Kenya and beyond, but as far as Kenya is concerned, we are all serving the same citizen. So we are working together with counties, and this is part of their shareable revenue. But we are encouraging, the government is encouraging counties to try and set aside some money, to reallocate some money to the alleviating the problem, the current problem.
All right. Sydney Chazima from NTV. My question goes to the utterances by the head of state. Mm-hmm. A few months ago, he said that the threat of El Nino has been downscaled. Yesterday, speaking in Roysambu, he said that some people had mocked him when he prayed for the rains sometime back in the year, and that the country is experiencing rains that it has never experienced before. Now, today he has held a cabinet meeting to find and provide solutions and mitigating interventions to this issue at a time when over 70,000 people have lost their lives. So is this...
70.
70.
Not 70,000.
Okay, 70.
Yeah.
So is this an unverbal admission from the head of state that maybe the warning from the Met Department should have been taken seriously before, and these measures been put in place before the loss of lives?
Okay. The warning from the Met Department was taken seriously, and that is why he was the first person to pronounce himself on the matter. Okay? So they classified this as an El Nino phenomenon. The rains as a result of an El Nino phenomenon, and there was a warning. The same Met downgraded. So the president was speaking from information from Met, downgraded, and then the president communicated. Now it has happened, and of course, prediction of weather patterns is not a precise science. We all know that. And several places in the world have got it wrong, okay? But the most important thing now is to deal with the situation at hand. And when the president says he prayed, he was being mocked, or some in government are being mocked for praying for rains. There are some, as much as we are seeing problems, and the government will do and is doing, as I have enumerated, all it can to alleviate the situation, we also have to agree that the rains in some parts of the country are beneficial. We're talking about a milk glut, and that farmers now, KCC has been given 500 million shillings so that they can take this milk from farmers. That is something positive. You're talking about hydro-generated power, and tariffs now will be lowered for the consumer. That is something positive. So it has a positive and negative side. Yeah? But all in all, the president was briefed about El Nino phenomenon. It was downgraded by the same Met department, and afterwards, of course, they escalated it back to El Nino. Yes, Afande, my friend. Oh, okay, Brenda, sorry.
It's okay.
And you're both from the same, so maybe one can take for both.
Okay, I'll ask mine. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's okay. No problem. I'm joking.
Yeah, I just need a bit of clarity, Hussein. At the beginning of this statement, you talked about some 7 billion shillings. Then you mentioned about the extra 20 billion shillings. So perhaps just give us clarity.
Extra 20 billion?
No, sorry, 10 and 10.
Yeah.
So the 7 and 10 and 10.
Yeah.
So clarity on that.
Yeah,
Let me just finish this question. So
yeah.
Clarity on that. And then there seems to be the semblance of a delayed response from government from the start of this El Nino rains, something my colleague has alluded to there. We have, I think we're in the third or fourth week of the El Nino rains. People have died, and there has been a lot of disconcerted response from government, both from national, at the executive level, county level. What do you think that happened, and what lessons do you think perhaps the executive can take from what has happened here? Just why that delayed response. And also the numbers they're giving us of the dead people, from our own calculations as a media house, we actually have a number higher than that because we have been keeping tabs since the reports of the deaths have been coming in. You're telling us it's a 76, but our numbers are reaching close to 90. Perhaps you can also respond to that.
Okay. So those are 3 questions. So number one, where government, of course, relies on its in its system, and it's a well-established system, to categorize disasters once they happen. And that is why I said we are at an alarm stage and not in all counties. So the response has been okay. And that is why the cabinet, that is why the president spoke on Saturday after seeing an escalation of the rainfall, of course, and floods and the devastation in some of these counties. And that is why a special cabinet meeting was held and these measures have been put. And there's a response going on the ground. Again, government has its own established protocols, and information is relayed about the people who lost their lives or people who are affected. And again, we condole with all the bereaved families because of what has happened. But those are the figures we're getting as government from our own people or from our own government officers on the ground. The third question was? Yeah, the amounts. No, there's no discrepancy there. 7 billion is contingencies fund. Okay, that is supposed to cater for this. So government has, and cabinet today, as I said, has talked about those funds and how they will be used to coordinate relief efforts. And of course, is asking Parliament again to replenish that amount. 10 billion last week, 10 billion this week. It has to do with shareable revenue to counties. It's not about the contingency funds. I hope that answers it, Brenda. Yeah? Afande.
Kwa jina naitwa Vincent Afande, a radio journalist for Radio Citizen. Maswali mingi yale nilikuwa nataka kuuliza, mwenzangu ashauliza, lakini sasa wacha nikuulize hivi. County ya Busia inajongelea athari kubwa kutokana na El Nino, hasa sehemu za Budalangi. Pengine katika baraza la mawaziri wa asubuhi ya leo, swala hilo liweza kuibuka katika mkutano huo, ama mnasubiri kuona maafa ndio mwanze kuchukua hatua katika kaunti ya Busia?
Okay, Afande, siamini yule Afande najua ndo ameniuliza swali kama hiyo. Afande, I think tumeongea kuhusu counties ambazo zimeathirika na tumezitaja na nimesema among hizi counties 38 Busia ni mojawapo. Okay? Na pia niliongelea kuhusu counties ambazo zimeathirika zaidi. So Busia iko kwenye orodha na pia inashughulikiwa kama counties zingine zote. Afande. Yeah. Okay. Last one maybe.
My name is Mike from TV47. I wanted a bit of clarification from the 7 billion shillings. Is it in addition to the 2.4 billion shillings?
It's part of it.
Released last week. And is it going to be shared to counties or it's national government dealing with it?
As I said, that is part of the contingency fund. Okay? So it's actually provided for in the Constitution as well. It has nothing to do with counties. It's part of the contingency fund. So 2.4 billion that went to ASALS, Department of ASALS, arid and semi-arid, for food and non-food items is part of the 7 billion contingency fund that now we are asking, or government is asking Parliament to replenish. Okay? Last one here.
My name is Kevin Cheriot from Daily Nation. Going by your statement, you said that 38 counties have been affected. And don't you think that the government has taken long? Maybe it should declare the ongoing El Nino as a state of emergency. Yeah.
Okay. That, of course, was also part of the discussions in Cabinet. And, of course, the decision to call something or declare a national disaster is based on data on the ground. The data that has been assessed on the ground, as I said, only puts this so far at an alarming stage. And as I said, there's a National Disaster Operations Center that is up and running. It will be based in Nyaya House under the Ministry of Interior. They are assessing by the minute data from the ground and whether there is need to escalate this beyond where it is right now. Yeah? So we have a situation, it's alarming. After the alarm stage, if things get out of hand, if things get worse, then, of course, the government will decide then whether, based on the data on the ground, it's time to call it a disaster. But for now, it is not. Okay? Thank you very much. Nashukuru sana. Yeah. Yeah.
The government has been asking people who are living close to areas that are prone to landslides, flooding, even the dams, to actually move to higher ground. But some of them are resisting. What can the government do, or what is the government doing beyond just asking them to move? Is there plans, or there are plans to actually have them, forcefully move to safety?
Again, Brenda, that is based on how the situation will be assessed. For example, the Ministry of Energy, which is also will be part of the National Disaster Operations Center, will assess the dams in the country, the key dams, and whether we'll have a spillover, and what that will have, the effect that will have downstream, and whether we'll get to a point where people will now will have to be moved. But for now, it is caution. And the government has, as I said in the statement, is urging the members of the public to cooperate and listen to the advice they are given so that we avoid any further devastation. Yeah. Thank you so much. Nashukuru.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you from wherever you're joining us from. This is TV47 News Now. My name is Moige William. Just a few moments you have heard from Statehouse spokesperson, that is Hussein Mohammed, giving an update on what has transpired today. Remember, today, Cabinet, led by President William Ruto, held a special session. On top of the agenda was matters El Nino and floods, which has wreaked havoc in the better parts of the country. Remember, more than 33 counties affected by floods, the death toll rising to almost 80. But according to Hussein Mohammed, the number as of now is standing at exactly 76 deaths. But also, Hussein Mohammed noting that already government has swung into action, although 4 weeks into this particular emergency situation, that he notes that according to where we are as a country, it is at the alarm stage, but not affecting all the counties, all the 47 counties, or rather the 33 counties, all right? Sorry for that. Also, among the brief that Hussein Mohammed has issued on matters El Nino and floods, already the government is distributing more than 150 mosquito nets, and with a special ad hoc committee created that will be spearheaded by President William Ruto. And also 10 billion extra has been disbursed to counties, which is part of the shareable revenue. In total, it is 20 billion. Remember, last week, counties, according to Statehouse, received 10 billion as shared revenue, and also by the end of Thursday, or rather this week, 10 more billion will be sent to counties. Also, Hussein Mohammed noting that already 7 billion in total, including the 2.5 billion that was allocated last week through the supplementary budget that President William Ruto sent to, a total of 7 billion will be considered as contingency funds. This will help the country mitigate the current situation that we are witnessing of floods. And remember, even in our reporting, we had highlighted among the counties much affected is Makueni, whereby only yesterday, that being on a Sunday, 4 people were reported dead, among them a cleric who was heading to church. So more of these details on what the government is doing together with the county government and the statistics, the figures, the counties affected, the people affected. Remember, more than 30,000 households have been affected across the country. All these details, we have them for you here on TV47 News. Now, let us begin our broadcast. Starting off, Makueni residents have been urged to avoid rivers and areas that pose a danger due to the ongoing rains, which may lead to landslides. Different institutions involved in rescue movements and further damage prevention have emphasized on the existence of cooperation that is between the to implement existing responsibilities in the community, despite the presence of danger in some areas in Makueni, where more than 20 people have lost their lives during this rainy season. The residents continue with their day-to-day activities despite the warning from leaders.
Mimi ni mmoja wa wale wanabebanga hao watu. Wengine wanakuanga wazito kiasi ya kwamba ni lazima umshike, na ukimshika mkono anaweza ponyoka. Kwa hivyo serikali tunaomba usaidizi. Ile ingine ni chakula tunatoa pande ya Kavudhu. Kupitia njia yoyote ile ni Kavudhu. Kwa hivyo serikali tunaomba usaidizi na tunalia. Tumekuwa tukilia kwa muda mrefu.
I'm here to sensitize our people to observe when the river is on the high. Kindly don't cross. Wait until the water comes down, then you cross. We don't want to experience more deaths like we have done up to now. In Makueni, we have lost more than 20 people, which is not good. I would like also to request the other stakeholders to come on board. I know Makueni County is on the ground. Red Cross is on the ground. As National Government Affirmative Action, we are on the ground. But that is not enough, because Makueni is worst hit, and we need more help so that we may assist our people with the food, blanket, and other things.
Right. Did I see someone carrying someone on his back and cross a river? Good people, we also need to be careful, because at such moment, even 6 inches of water together with the debris can be very dangerous for you. Let us all keep safe, even as we mitigate this situation that we are experiencing as a nation. Now, to other news, as the country continues with a campaign to mark 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, civil societies and human rights activists in Kiambu County held a peaceful demonstration to condemn the act of violence that is alleged to have been perpetrated to Kameno Ward MCA, that is Peter Mburu, against her counterpart, Pacifica Ongecha, in Naivasha, Nakuru County, last week Friday, during a meeting with Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi. Kiambu County Roots Kenya representative Jane Wangari said they have more than 28 cases before the court in the county, where the organization is pursuing justice for the victims who have faced violation of their rights. She further called upon men who are facing domestic violence in the country to come out and report the matter to relevant authorities to get their rights.
Happened to her. We call upon other organizations working on issues of ending gender injustices to stand with us and with Honorable Pacifica during this period. There is no excuse against gender-based violence, and as we continue to commemorate 16 days of activism, let us hold hands and explain there is no justice, no excuse, no excuse. Every other day, let us continue saying we are not giving anyone any opportunity to create excuses. So we call other organizations to stand with us as we continue calling out this injustice. So in Kiambu County, we have had 28 cases that have gone to our different courts. We're having some in Thika, some in Kiambu, and we have seen most of these cases going all to the way the perpetrators are arrested. No. In our handling of GBV issues in Kiambu County and even in the other counties, we have come to realize that even the boy child is also experiencing violence.
Nikiwa hapa nawakilisha wanaume wenye tuko nao hapa na mayouth, na tuko hapa kukondem hizi incidents zote za gender based violence, especially kwa wale wanaume wanaona kupiga mama ama mwanamke ndio kazi rahisi. Nawaambia hiyo wakati iliisha. Hata mama ako na haki yake, na sisi kama wanaume pia wale tuko hapa ama wale wako kule nje tujitokeze, at least tujaribu kuzuia hizi, tumalize hii maneno ya gender based violence.
Away from that, our section of private schools is persistently in demanding an audit, that is, of the entire KCPE 2023 examination marking and release process a few days ago. According to Samuel Kinothia, who is the chairperson of Kiambu County Private Schools Association and also the director, Precious Cornerstone Academy, errors keep on emerging from the process, arousing suspicion among stakeholders. Kinothia called on the government through the Ministry of Education to guarantee a fair selection that is of the joining Form 1 in various high schools, while also recognizing students who did exceptionally well in the results.
Tukiangalia ni kama haya matokeo yalikimbizwa, kwa sababu unakumbuka kitu cha kwanza ni kwamba mtambo ile wa SMS siku ambayo matokeo yalitokea ulikwama kabisa, na hata mpaka saa hii ambayo ni siku ya Jumamosi matokeo bado kwa poto ya NEC bado hatujaweza kuyapata. Kwa hivyo tunaona kwamba kama kuna haraka ilikuwepo, sijui kwa nini kulikuwa na haraka, kwa sababu matokeo yote imekuwa na makosa kidogo hapa na pale. Na nimeona hata adhuhuri ya leo Kenya National Examination Council imeandika barua pepe kusema kwamba kuna hitirafu, wamekubali kuna hitirafu, lakini tumeshukuru kwa sababu tumeona wamekiri na wakasema kwamba watazirekebisha.
Kulingana na vile imetuahidi watoto wetu wote wataenda Form 1, tunatarajia kulingana na ile marks mtoto alikuwa amepata, atapata shule nzuri. Mtoto kama ni wa national school, wacha aende national school, na kama ni wa extra county, wacha tuende ile shule huyo mtoto marks zake zinafanya awe aende hiyo shule, na tutashukuru sana. Sana tungeomba serikali, kwa sababu tumesikia shule mingi wazazi wakilalamika wakisema karo imeongezewa. Tungeomba tu tafadhali serikali, na kulingana na maisha mahali yametufikisha, tafadhali msiongeze fees, na ikiwezekana tafadhali serikali punguzeni hii fees, ndio at least watoto wetu waweze kusoma. Mkikumbuka hii ndio 844 ya mwisho, hawa ndio walimaliza hii 844. Tafadhali wacheni watoto wetu wasome.
All right, and from that parents plea still on matters education, the government has said it's working to ensure technical and vocational education training institutions are well funded and equipped so as to complement universities and colleges in the country. PS4 State Department for Technical Vocational Education, that is Esther Dara, has said plans are underway to ensure competence-based and education and training curricula is well formulated and rolled out to technical and vocational education institutions across the country. Dara presided the handing over of the new TVET Curriculum Development, Assessment and Certification Council, that is CEO Professor Kisilu Kitainge. On his part, the new CEO Professor Kisilu acknowledged the big task ahead as he takes up his new role, noting that he's ready to steer the institutions forward.
CEO of TVET CDAC, it marks the beginning of a bright future in the TVET sector in Kenya. This moment symbolizes growth, progress, and continuous pursuit of excellence. The Kenya Kwanza government is angling towards industrialization, and it's banking on the TVET sector to spur industrialization in Kenya. TVET SIDAC plays a very key role, not only in the TVET sector, but also in ensuring that the government realizes its industrialization agenda in Kenya.
It is a great pleasure to be here today to receive with humility the honor of being bestowed as the CEO of TVET SIDAC. I wish to reiterate my commitment to the dream of the youth of this country towards getting the rightful skills and skills that will take them to the next level. I wish to reiterate my commitment to the dream that His Excellency, the President of this country, has had towards our education and training systems. I reiterate my commitment to achieving the dream of Kenya Kwanza in all matters TVET.
All right, and with that, time for a short commercial break, but do keep it TV47, more news on the other side.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haiishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni, hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks, we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hibak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before.
What's making the headlines? What does it mean to you? How does it affect you? We answer all these questions every Sunday for half an hour on To The Point Show. Hey, I'm Grace Kuriakanja, and a lot has happened this week. Let's dive into it.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you know.
All right, welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Moving on, and to more news, the Ma community gathered to celebrate an exciting event of unveiling of their official speaker, Edwin Lekeriap. Ilchamul's community is also known as a resilient minority group, and therefore the appointment of Lekeriap as their speaker opened a new page of unity among the community. The event was attended by leaders from Makutani, Ilchamus, and Marigat communities. Frida Nyakeo reports.
Ilchamus community is one of the minority group among the Maasai community. The community has crowned Edwin Lekeriap as its spokesperson. Upon his crowning, Lekeriap promised to strengthen the voice of the community members and improve their lives.
What they want is a spokesperson that will help them with their issues, development issues, economic issues, cultural issues, and bring it to the attention of the relevant authorities so that they can be solved together with our political problems.
Community leaders emphasized the need for collective action to confront the formidable challenges that plagued the Ilchamus people. These challenges include insecurity, relentless invasion of madenge weed, and the devastating impact of climate change, particularly the rising water levels of Lake Baringo, which is threatening the community's well-being.
Shida yetu kubwa na inajulikana dunia mzima ni kwamba hatujapata Ilchamus constituency. Sababu kama tungekuwa na Ilchamus constituency ambayo tunaweza kusema maneno yetu inayotuhusu sisi kama jamii, hatungekuwa na maneno kama kusema tunataka spokesman.
Recognizing the gravity of these challenges, Lekeriap pledged unwavering dedication to bridging the gap between the Ilchamus community and the government.
Coordinate the other many factions within Ilchamus, that is many groupings like the Ilchamus Council of Elders, the politicians, the clergy, the professionals, the youth, the women, and bring them in one